Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Emotional Eating Unwrapped. I'm so excited to be here today. It is such a beautiful day here in Kentucky, where I'm recording in my home office, and I am just feeling the energy of spring coming. My husband and I are going on vacation tomorrow to the beach, and so I'm just in a just a really good mood. And I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about this topic that I feel like is getting a little bit more popularity these days. And it's something that I think is really important to address and to get clarity on. And again, the clarity is my own perspective, my own opinion. I'm always open and love hearing your feedback, your thoughts. So if you have any other opinions, feel free to let me know. But today's topic is about body positivity and body neutrality. So I'm going to talk about body positivity, and I'm going to talk about um, my just my opinion on that brand in general, that narrative of body positivity in general, and then I'm going to talk about body neutrality, which is is more aligned with um, how I like to practice body positivity, how I like to teach my clients and students about body positivity, and I'm going to take you through that arc in today's episode and how I get to the conclusion and kind of get to this place where, in my opinion, body neutrality is in essence the the real core of body positivity, and when you can get to a place of neutrality with your body and with your emotions about your body and with your opinions and thoughts and feelings about your body, body positivity is something that naturally comes out of that. So let's dive in. And I think that this topic came to me, and I really wanted to talk about it because I feel like we're in a culture that really promotes positivity, and sometimes to a toxic extreme. And there's this seemingly juxtaposing narrative where body positivity is a juxtaposing narrative to negative self image and disordered eating habits, right? So it's like we're taking this other extreme, which is, negative feelings about our body, disordered eating, body harm, just like a lot of just behavioral and mental ways that we relate to ourselves and our body. And we're juxtaposing that with just the complete opposite, right? We're juxtaposing that with complete over the moon joy about our body. And I think it's really, really important to recognize that that might not be the most skillful means to getting to a self acceptance, a positive place about our body, and that just just kind of taking on that brand of body positivity might not actually be the holy grail of self love. And I think that it is important to explore this topic from a place of curiosity, again, be open minded. And I think it's really important to name this and to take the lid off of this topic slightly. So, and the reason why I actually really feel charged about this topic is because I actually have a history myself of being pretty black and white. My nature can be extreme. I mean, as a recovered binge eater, I lived for so many years in the extreme of things. I either was restricting or I was binging. I avoided the middle and the process of things a lot, and feeling kind of the messy middle of things in lieu of more extreme kind of certain style certain style mindsets. And I would say that, binging and compulsive eating is a very extreme kind of way of relating to food, and restricting is a very extreme way of relating to food. Thinking that, feeling harm, doing harm to your body, or obsessively trying to change your body to achieve a certain societal image is extreme, and pretending like that doesn't matter at all is an extreme, right? So I have a history of living in those extreme paradigms. So that's why I feel very like I'm a good person to talk about it. I feel like I am well suited to talk about this because I have a personal understanding of it. This isn't just, I'm going to take something that's popular now and I'm going to just talk about it because it's trendy. It's really something that I have had a lived experience. Um, I've had a lived experience in my own life. And that being said, I more than anyone hold the belief that body confidence and feeling authentically happy in our bodies is a key factor to living a high value, fulfilling life. One where you feel free to truly express your individuality and give and receive love and the gifts that you have to give. And I feel like having this body confidence is so important to be able to go into the world and show yourself, to be able to go into the world and receive from the world, from other people. And I truly feel a lot of my whole work is based on this, that feeling good in your body authentically and accepting your body is a key factor in that freedom to do that. But that being said, I don't recommend that my clients and students just feel positive about their body. When my clients and students come to me with negative thoughts and feelings and judgments and mindsets about their body, I don't immediately tell them just flip that and be positive, or the way to get through that is to just accept yourself as you are. I think that is where we want to get to, accept yourself as you are, but you can't will yourself to accept yourself as you are, right? Anything that has to do with willing yourself isn't going to be sustainable long term, whether that's willing yourself to accept yourself, willpower to not eat something, right? These are all connected. Willing, that root word of the will, isn't necessarily something that ends up leading to long-term self-love, self-acceptance. And so I feel, and I like to guide my clients and students to reach a place with their bodies, and this is something I did for myself too, that feels neutral. Because when you can feel neutral about your body, there's an inherent positivity that you feel underneath that. And I like to use the example of joy and happiness, right? So when you're happy and you're excited, or maybe it's excitement and joy, okay? So when you're excited, there's an energy to it, right? It's like up, up, up. There's like, it's a lot of, it's sensational. Whereas joy can be like not as sensational. It's just kind of like it's like just a feeling that's there, that's positive. And that's what I want. That's what I believe to be positive, to be a positive body image, right? It's not that you like wave the flag, I love myself, I love my body. You don't have to do that. You just feel a certain soberness, a certain neutrality about your body. Your feelings about your body don't dictate how you feel about yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Your feelings about your body don't define your identity. They don't define your personality. And I think that's really important to to recognize. So I think that rather than just taking on the brand of body positivity, which can for some veer over into denying some of our core feelings and desires in lieu of unconditional acceptance, seeking to reach a place of body neutrality can be so much more honest. And it allows for the inclusion of sometimes difficult feelings that we have about our bodies. So, neutrality, positivity is kind of like it has to be good all the time. Whereas neutrality allows for, okay, I'm going to allow in maybe some negative feelings that I have about myself, and that's okay. And there's a certain peace and positivity about that being okay. So, neutrality, body neutrality, it's a practice. It's a practice of being with the reality and exploring our true feelings and our true self judgments, our inner self judgments about these feelings. And I think that body positivity as a brand is attractive because it inherently provides a space to feel good and accepted immediately. It kind of goes along with instant gratification, where we don't necessarily have to go through some of the discomfort of not feeling good immediately. And I'm always skeptical of that because I think that part of what makes something long lasting and sustaining is building the foundation for that long lasting and sustainability of it. And doing that work of looking inward and dealing with uncomfortable feelings, that is the foundation building. So, again, like, I think that unless, like I said, unless you're putting on a costume that you can try on and then you can put it back later, you can't just try something on and have it leaving you feeling authentically good, confident, and completely secure permanently. Right? You can't. You try it on, you feel amazing, but then you put it back. Right? If you actually wanted it to be long standing, you'd have to measure it to yourself, you'd have to like trim it, you'd have to adjust, you'd have to like, it would be a little bit uncomfortable. It would be a bit of a hassle. But then it would be yours and you'd feel good. And that is what I want, and that's what my clients and my students want. They want to feel long-term security that their body positivity will be forever. Right? That's what I wanted. I would say that 90% of the people that I work with, that I teach my methods to, that is what they say they want. They're like, I want to feel long-term security and I want to feel good in my body that'll last forever. I want to know that I'm going to feel good and confident and secure and trusting in myself forever. And in order to get that, that means that they have to be willing to sometimes not feel positive about their bodies and let that be okay. That way, they can explore deeper into what they really need and how they need to organize their life and behavior so that they can feel good about their body. Okay, so when they're willing to acknowledge that they don't feel so great about their body, they could zoom out and say, like, what are the factors that are causing me to not feel so great about my body? Because just being positive about your body no matter what is not acceptance, in my opinion. Right? You don't get to acceptance by just being positive. You don't get to body acceptance by just deciding to be positive. That's not acceptance. It's denial. It's the flip side of being negative. Just like I talked about when I started this conversation. Okay? It's the flip side of being negative. Both sides of the coin leave no room for the middle. And for that reason, from an ideological point of view, they're actually the same. Okay, so body positivity and body negativity, from an ideological point of view, are the same. They're both very binary identities about body image. And even though one end, body positivity, gives off a more upbeat energy, and one side gives off the opposite energy, right? More like negative and contracted and closed and not positive. That part doesn't really matter. What matters is that they're both extremes. And living in any extreme ultimately can lead to feelings of shame and depression because it's narrow and it's inevitable that, messy feelings or like things that don't fit in that narrow view are going to come up. And when those things come up and they don't fit in that view, what happens? That's where shame, that's where depression, that's where anxiety comes from. And examples of this are all over now, right? I was just watching something on Nightline about Ozempic, right? About how people who were very body positive, and they were body positive ambassadors and role models, started taking Ozempic and hit it, felt super ashamed. And, you can say whatever you want about Ozempic, but, no one should feel ashamed for their decision. That's the worst part, was that clearly something changed, but that change didn't fit into their worldview, into their identity, into their brand. And they felt like they had to hide and they had to be ashamed of that. And that is really unfortunate and sad, in my opinion. That leads to all the things that we talk about, like, that can lead to negative coping mechanisms, that can lead to disordered eating, that leads to low self-worth. Not feeling safe and permissive, like you have permission to feel your truth, is a very difficult place to be, and is usually one of the core triggers for emotional eating behaviors, binge eating behaviors, restrictive behaviors. Another example is the New York Times article that came out on February 26th, 2024, where I think her name is Miss Davis. I think it's Dronme Davis. She was a former plus size model who lost weight. Maybe that's not how to pronounce her name, so I'm going to say Miss Davis. She was a former plus size model and she lost weight, and she felt like she had to. She was scared. Her quote. She said, "I'm scared of being judged or yelled at or letting people down," said Miss Davis, a formerly plus size model who lost weight. Which is ironic, continuing the quote, because I think my silence is letting people down more than me talking about it. Okay, so the idea that people feel this shame and judgment for being themselves, especially when they were technically supposed to be ambassadors for like full self-acceptance, is actually very ironic, and goes to show that any extreme is not great. And that's why I'm so passionate about embracing body neutrality instead of body positivity, because neutrality, when achieved and deeply felt, is the most positive feeling in the world. It's not a hype feeling or overly sensational. It's not hype. It's not like up or like hype or overly sensational, but it's calm. It's secure. It's reliable. It's a relaxed nervous system. It's peace. It's an exhale. It's mature joy. And when we realize that feeling genuinely positive doesn't come from chasing positive feelings or taking on a positive brand identity, when we realize it comes from the skill of navigating real feelings and real discomfort, even if the discomfort comes from our own inner selves, we can get to a place of neutrality with the feelings. And we can get to the place where we accept ourselves for real, authentically, without it needing to be a denial of something else. Okay, we don't have to say, it doesn't have to be a denial of something else. We can accept ourselves in all of our inclusion. Inclusivity is one of the biggest measures of acceptance. That includes self-acceptance. And that is real freedom. That is real positivity. That is real happiness. And so, how do we begin to practice body neutrality? So, I'm going to give you 2 ways to begin to practice body neutrality. The first is be willing to get honest about how you feel about your body. Okay, remove any shame and judgment you have around wanting to change it. Now, this might be difficult. I know I'm saying it could be really easy, it could be hard. And so that's why getting support, whether that's a group, whether that's a coach, whether that's a program, just somewhere to process with other people, with an expert, can be really helpful. And then this is a mindset. The next one is a mindset skill. So remember that your body is a vehicle. It's a vehicle for living life, and how we feel about it, right? It's our vehicle, and how we feel about our body is heavily influenced by our society and the beliefs and values of those around us. So you want to take a deep look and determine if they impact how you feel about your body. Okay, so you want to remember that your body is a vehicle for you to live and appreciate that. Okay? I'm not saying to ignore any other feelings while you try to appreciate it, but just lock into that for a second. Right? It's like a blue sky viewpoint. It's like a zoomed out viewpoint. Your body's a vehicle for actually living your life. And then start to be like, how does my environment influence and my society's values and other everything, that all the values and identities and belief systems of people and society around you influence how you feel about your body. And if you feel like it does in a negative way, then where you want to focus your energy on is creating better emotional alignment in your life, because that might be the key for you to access body neutrality. And emotional alignment is a skill in and of itself, right? You want to create an emotional alignment where you feel like your environment matches with your belief system, your environment matches with you getting your needs met, right? You're not being triggered. So those are the 2 things. Get honest and work on removing any shame, process that if you do that with someone else. And then the second thing is really having gratitude and appreciating your body for its job as being a vehicle for you to live, and take responsibility to make sure that it's living in happiness and ultimately it's positivity, right? So in conclusion, body positivity is a natural extension of body neutrality. And body neutrality is a practice. Okay, just remember that. It's a practice. It's not a belief system or a mindset that you could just take on. Body neutrality is a practice that requires you to embrace your true feelings and desires while uncovering any inner judgments that you've been holding on to so you can feel the genuine and authentic permission to release them and enjoy true body confidence and positivity. So, thank you so much for joining me today. And don't forget to join me again next week with another new episode about emotional eating so you can fall in love with eating and start losing weight and keep it off with sustainable strategies and lasting change. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe, leave a review on Apple, and share it with those who may benefit from this empowering message. I also have a lot of free resources on my website to help you on your journey to loving food and losing weight. Just go to www.bewellbyak.com. And until next time, I'm Alana, and thank you for listening to Emotional Eating Unwrapped.